You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show podcast on KPEL965.com.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studios. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Harris to Pennsylvania, Trump to Georgia. I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. Those are two of the toss-up states 13 days before the election, though more than 20 million Americans have already voted early.
Both sides are ramping up their get-out-the-vote efforts right now. Former President Trump told Fox's Brian Kilmeade that he's actually going to go out and vote early to try to set a good example for his base. And you can hear that interview today on Kilmeade's radio show.
That interview about to start on Fox News Radio in a few minutes. Fox's Aisha Hasni also reports from Duluth, Georgia, where the former president will rally tonight.
Trump is also taping an interview with podcast giant Joe Rogan. Meanwhile, the Democrats are getting the help from the boss. No, not Joe Biden. Bruce Springsteen will do a concert series in battleground states. The first one is tomorrow at a rally in Atlanta. It's headlined by Harris and Obama.
The former president campaigned for the vice president in Wisconsin, then Michigan last night.
America's ready to turn the page. We're ready for a better story.
Vice President Harris will have a town hall near Philadelphia tonight. Back to that Trump-Brian Kilmeade interview.
How would you like to be Israel and wake up and find out that all of your various plans on attacking Iran have been leaked to the media and to the world? And this can only happen to this administration.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin calls that leak very serious, but no Defense Department employee is under investigation. Austin also confirms that North Korea has sent soldiers to Russia, and South Korea warns they'll be fighting in Ukraine.
Austin says North Korea's entry into the war in Ukraine would be very serious.
And it will have impacts not only in Europe, it will also impact things in the Indo-Pacific as well.
The Biden administration has warned for months of a deepening military partnership between Russia and North Korea, accusing Pyongyang of supplying weapons to Moscow.
As Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House, the U.S. and our allies are working on a $50 billion loan for Ukraine backed by frozen Russian assets. America's listening to Fox News.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for two unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, then
Every day at 5 p.m. right here on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. It's me, Joe Cunningham, with The Joe Cunningham Show, offering you news, analysis, and commentary you're not going to get anywhere else. The big news stories of the day, and even some of the headlines you may not be aware of. It's your local, state, and national news coverage from a local perspective right here. Every day, News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Check us out, The Joe Cunningham Show, every day at 5 p.m.
Hey, parents, you don't need the latest gizmo, slang, or clothes to be a perfect parent, because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Bikers Against Child Abuse empowers children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. For more information, visit BACAworld.org. Our helpline is 866-885-9474. BACA, breaking the chains of abuse.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by Champines, located in the Oil Center. Champines, going the extra mile.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hi, hello. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. It is a great to be with you on a hump day already. And after the first segment hour of the program, I'll probably be one of the most hated dudes in the state again by people that I like and that are friends of mine. God, I hate telling the truth sometimes. You ever hate telling the truth? Sometimes it's tough. It's just tough. Tell the truth, people get mad at you. Tell the truth, people got the agenda they want to listen to. Hey, I'm not saying we're not all like that. I don't like the truth sometimes about my crazy self sometimes. But I'll be lit up and brought down and beat up and everything else. But that's okay. What I promised the audience when I started the program 31 years ago, that man, I just like telling the truth. And sometimes I get it kind of animated and excited, and sometimes I wish I didn't get that excited. But you always make somebody mad when you tell the truth, man. I had a guy tell me one, an elected official, who they're the ones that get mad at me the most. I can't figure out why. But anyway, it's beside the point. He got mad at me for this. Was an elected official. He was in the House. I'm not going to mention, I ought to tell y'all the name of the person, just for the fun of it, but I'm not. He was mad at me. He told me I'm just PO'd at you. And I said, man, so mad at me for? I've been talking about it. You know what he was mad at me for? Walker, you'll love this. He was mad at me because I put out his voting record. Now, it's his voting record. He made the votes. And the dude's mad at me. Which is, by the way, how do I find out about the voting record? It's public record. He didn't have to tell everybody. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Your voting record is public. It's our work you're dealing with. The dude was mad at me because I put out his voting record. I just laughed. I said, all right, let me get this straight. You're mad at me for something you did. He couldn't say nothing. Well, I mean, I went, I said, you're mad at me for something you did. With my money, with our money, not mine, but ours. I said, you mad at me with your voting record? I said, you're talking to the wrong dude. Talking to me about being mad at me. So anyway, I done been through it, and I'd been through it with all these governors. So I'm going to offer some friendly advice to Governor Landry, who I like, and I'm pulling for Governor Landry to get his tax package planned through once I see it all. I'm not endorsing it or on it, but I do want him. I think he's trying to do some good things. I'm not trading that. I like Jeff. Jeff's a personal friend as well as an elected official, and I'm pulling for him. And I voted for him, and I supported him, and I want him to succeed. Okay? I didn't say I agree with everything because I'm not going to. It's just a natural process. As a matter of fact, when we disagreed on something, they put out a press release saying that we expect Moon to challenge us, and we don't think you're going to agree on everything we said. And I thought that was class. But on this, I don't want to get frustrated with this because it's too early to get frustrated with it. And I did this when Governor Landry was on the program. Like I said, I'm gonna get beat up, but I'm just going to have to get beat up. And I don't mean this. This is friendly advice. Does not have to take my advice. Okay, nobody else does. Why in the hell should he? So Jeff did a little. Did Jeff Landry put out a little release deal that they put in the newspapers? It was an op-ed, whatever you want to call it. And the Devil's Advocate ran it in the opinion page, and that's where I picked it up from. And the headlines is Louisiana Governor left Jeff Landry. Louisiana needs tax reform to avoid a $1.5 billion shortfall. Where the hell did he get that from? It was 400 to 500 million to 600 million. In the article, Jeff mentioned 700 million. Well, let me share it with you because I don't want to be misquoted. He says, and this is his words, not mine. The reality is that we are facing projected revenue shortfall that many say will exceed $700 million. That's bigger than I've heard so far. And could balloon down to over $1.45 billion if we do not act on it. No. Where is he getting the 1.5? That should have never came out of his mouth because that's what Bell Edwards did. They were approaching, when Bell Edwards and David Vitter ran, it was a $700 to $800 billion deficit. That was when Bell Edwards won, it was a $1.1 billion. And then when he came back with his budget, it was a $2 billion. And he made that up. They lied about that. And nobody's ever proven me wrong. This is the 9th year. Nobody still can prove me wrong on that. And I even got Tyler Bridges said, would you look at it? I'm going to look at it. I ain't heard from Tyler. The 1 point, Jeff, please don't start that. Please don't start that. I'm begging you don't do that. My advice is get away from that. That's the same crap I've watched. And I'm just asking the governor, please don't put that number out there again. Please don't. Because if I'm telling you right now, if we're doing a tax plan and we're going to do a tax change and redo what the governor wants to do, and a lot of great things in this thing, I'm telling you it is. I want to support it. But if you're going to start talking about $1.5 billion, there ain't but one way to go get $1.5 billion, folks, and that's to raise taxes like Bell did. Bell needed $2 billion, so he got $7 billion. And I'm just telling y'all, when I start seeing $1.5 billion, we ain't getting tax breaks. We're going to be paying. If that's true, we're going to end up getting tax increases. And I'm just telling you, I want the governor to win on this. I had more representatives that I sent that to saying, tell me where that came from. And exact words is, I have no clue. And they don't know what he's talking about. So, Governor, please don't do Bell Edwards. I know that's how he got things done. Scare people, no LSU football, and all that crazy crap he was talking about. Just please, Governor, I'm asking you, as a friend, as a taxpayer. Don't put stuff out like that. The other thing, and I want to get this straight too. Y'all notice, and I did this with Bell Edwards too, and I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna get in trouble. When I'm telling y'all, I'm gonna get in trouble with it. And I don't mean any harm by this. It's friendly advice. That's all it is. And you do not have to listen to me. You do not have to take my advice. So, every time we can't even cut the 0.45 cent sales tax, which is $450 million. Oh, we've already seen all the articles. Education's going to cut $250 million. How are we going to do this? And they're writing all these. They can't cut $5 out the budget on the spending budget, and somebody ain't panicking or talking about something that's going to close. Now, y'all know this because we watched it now for 100 years. Anytime anybody talks about they cutting budget money out the budget, we restore it. I mean, it's never do it. So I asked the governor when he said this the other day, and I'm going to ask him again to quit saying this. Okay? I'm just saying. And they can get mad at me because they're going to get mad at me. And I don't want them to get mad at me because I'm right there with them. I'm not beating them up. I'm just challenging something. The governor keeps saying my administration and the legislature have already made significant cuts, reducing state budget by $2 billion. They're using the word reducing instead of cutting. That makes me feel a lot better, but the reduced of the $2 billion was federal money that's not coming here. And that's being thrown out there because it makes it look like, well, we got rid of $2 billion. You know why nobody bickered? You got rid of $2 billion and nobody complained. Not one person. Higher ed didn't jump up and down. K through 12 didn't jump up and down. Hospitals, they didn't jump up and down. Nobody. Why? Because it wasn't a cut. And they're using the right word, reducing. But the reducing because of the lack of federal money that's coming in. I'd stay away from the $2 billion, the budget. They were using the word cut. But he did say made significant cuts, reducing the budget by $2 million, and that's the word cut, and that throws that out. Folks, think about what I'm saying. Let's forget Governor Landry, move him to the side. Let's go back from Bell Edwards to Bobby Jindal to Mike Foster, whoever. Anytime they talked about cutting the budget, you remember higher ed freaking out when Bell Edwards said he had to cut the budget? You remember we got a close, no LSU football. They had signs almost by this building, almost cat a corner from the building I'm in. They had a hospital, save our hospitals for a little bitty cut. So if you cut $2 billion out, nobody complained. Nobody got fussed at. Where was those cuts at? Because nobody got cut. My friendly advice is this. Quit using the $2 billion. Jeff, you don't need that. Say your plan based on what we need to do for the state. And please get rid of this $1.5 billion, $700 million, whatever. Get rid of that. Throw that aside, Governor. You got a plan. Run with your plan. If it needs to be tweaked, let's tweak it. I'm for the governor. Now, they're going to put he's on your ass again. I'm not on him. I'm telling you, when I read stuff like this, I cringe. I fought Bill Edwards on the same thing on the $2 billion. We cut $2 billion, reducing the state, made significant cuts, reducing the state budget by $2 billion. I'm sorry. Nobody got mad at that. Not one person got mad at that. $2 billion. Because it wasn't a cut. And he shouldn't be using that. Sell your plan, Governor. Sell it on a merit we need. Everything in the article other than that was perfect. He talked about changing the culture and changing the fund. That's right. He's right about it. That's why we want to get behind the governor with a plan. His problem's going to be half-assed Cameron Henry. But don't talk about budget deficits of $1.5 billion and we cut $2 billion budget. Nobody complained. Because don't use that. Run away from that. It's friendly advice, but instead of people taking the advice or saying, I'm not going to take the advice, either way, that's fine, people get mad at me. I'm telling y'all, folks, telling the truth. Tell the truth, you get in trouble. You lie, steal, cheat on your wife, you can become the president of the United States. Let me take a break. I know, Moon he's just don't understand. You're right. I don't understand why we keep doing the same thing over and over, getting the same results, and we won't change it. The governor's right when he's wanting to change this. He's right on. Take a break. Be right back. When you think about how you'll spend your money in retirement, what comes to mind? Probably travel, sunny beaches, and spoiling your grandchildren. But a recent survey found that over 30% of every dollar a retiree spends goes to taxes. Baby boomers were told for years to save money in their IRAs and 401ks and pay taxes later. Well, now that day has arrived, and boomers are shocked to see a third of their money going back to Uncle Sam. John Blanchard and the Matthew James Financial Group can help. What if you could protect all or most of your retirement wealth from future tax rate increases? Achieve a zero or near zero effective tax rate for most of your retirement years. Find out more. 337-366-8366. Isn't it time you got a second opinion on your wealth and retirement outlook? Learn how you could potentially kick the IRS out of your IRA. 337-366-8366 and online at MatthewJames.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. It's termite season. Did you know termites are responsible for over $1 billion worth of damage in Louisiana alone? For over 60 years, J&J Exterminating has been shielding homes and businesses. 100% guaranteed against termites, pests, and mosquitoes. Louisiana-owned, customer-focused. J&J Exterminating.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating.
Get the shield.
Yeah. It's gumbo season. This year, I want you to try some Ragin' Cajun Authentic Roux and let Ragin' Cajun Roux do the hard work for you. Using just two simple ingredients. Ragin' Cajun Roux, a slow cook for 6 hours for the perfect dark and rich tasting gumbo. You can find Ragin' Cajun Roux and Ragin' Cajun Original Cajun Seasoning in all your favorite grocery stores today. Folks, ask them for that Ragin' Cajun. Try all your great Ragin' Cajun products. Ask for them by name in the grocery store. Ragin' Cajuns, folks. This food is great.
Craig Morrell.
Well, my email's not blowing up. My phone's not blowing up yet, so I made it last few minutes anyway. Hey, hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Always a pleasure to be with you. As usual, every day is a blessing to be here. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, you can always email me, moon@moongriffon.com. So I'm hoping, I know some elected officials will listen. I'm just I think what the governor's trying to do is very, very worthy to do it. I just think we need to be careful playing the game that they always play when you don't have to. Everybody knows we need to change something. And I don't want something to turn into a tax increase because of throwing numbers out there, $1.5 billion and things like that. Bell did that. Bell and Jay Dard. Jay Dard was just as guilty. They did it, and the media ran with it, and I asked the media to spell the devil's advocate to go back and look for it, and I asked Tyler Bridges to go look for it. If anybody sees Tyler, know him, just tell him that Moon's talking about when you're going to prove that $2 billion budget deficit that Bella was talking about. So, anyway, let me jump gears. So, last night, I'm minding my own business. So, I'm getting some text messages, check my email, all the same thing. Apparently, in the Public Service Commission, right, Cocktail Cousins went real negative. And he's had to. People that know him best with the Republican PEC, and they did not even give him the endorsement. So they had to rig the endorsement to the Republican PEC. And they rigged it. I'm not going to go back through it, but they rigged it to do it again so he can get the endorsement. And his own people knew him. Almost half the people, right at 45%, 48% of people on the PEC said, no, we're not endorsing him. Anyway, they fixed that way he can get the endorsement a little later. And the problem you got is Cocktail Cousin and the Public Service Commission has the money because the Good Old Boy Network is giving him the money. The same system that screwed this state up. And he's sending out things about Julie Quinn. Oh, she voted for Kamala. They make up stuff. They twist stuff and turn stuff. People were asking me about it. I laughed at it. I said, I'm voting for Quinn. I'm not voting for Cocktail. And this thing with him on the Green New Deal and the advertisement is just an outright lie. He was head of natural resources when every Green New Deal thing they can pass and carbon capture passed. All under his watch. The only thing they ever beat back were things that he wanted beat back, which were probably the good things. And people were begging him to help him. He didn't care. Lake Maurepas and all that area. He didn't give a damn. But here's the problem, and I noticed this when Edwards ran a second time. Eddie Rispone, and I know Eddie, I like Eddie, but Eddie Rispone did something I begged him not to do. He went after Ralph Abraham. And he ended up getting in the runoff, but that was it. And Eddie went after Ralph Abraham because he had all the money and Ralph didn't have much. And that's what's happening in this race. Julie's not able to return fire on a horrendous record from John Paul Cousin. Cocktail, I call him, because he loved a cocktail. He loved to run his mouth when he had a few cocktails. So Cocktail Cousin has the money to beat up Julie, and Julie probably can't respond because she don't have near the money. That's fine. I understand people say, if you ain't got money, don't get in the race. I get it. They said it about Abraham. Abraham couldn't respond to the lies being thrown out by Eddie Rispone, by planes and all that stuff. And Cocktail's doing the same thing because he's worried. You know, he's really worried. Now, he may end up winning the race because he's got the money. I don't know that. I'm not voting for him. People quit asking me. I'm voting for Julie Quinn. I ain't got a problem with that. I'm not voting for him. And people keep forgetting who this guy is. They're forgetting the guy that on his brochure that I have right here in my phone where he promised when he ran he would not vote for taxes on the Louisiana citizens at all. First tax vote was 1 cent. It was a 27-month tax. It was over $2 billion. I think it was closer to $2.5. Okay? $1 billion. And that 1 cent led to the 0.45, which was another $3.5 billion. Now, he voted against that, but the 1 cent causes us to get the 0.45 that we all get about now. He did that. He lied up front. Then the biggest lie was he was part of the fraud squad. He led the charge along with Clay Shakespeare and Stuart Little, very little Bishop, and that gang of idiots to put Clay Shakespeare in. And all they did was they walked across the aisle. This is him. This is when he was cocktailed up, was bragging about it at a football game. Oh, I'm getting ready to be head of natural resources. We cut a deal with the Black Caucus. And I announced it way before they did it. I'll be damned if they did it. They walked off. They got 37 Democrats all the Democrats, 37, 39, with the 23 Republicans, walked away from the 45 conservative Republicans, knifed them in the back, kicked them in the butt. He was part of that group. He was part of the queue. He was part of the group that went across and took the Democrats to put Clay Shanksnod as Speaker of the House. Then they had to give stuff to Democrats. Now, he's talking about Quinn and Kamala. Who do you think the people he made a deal with so he could be natural resource, so he could raise money to run for something else? We got to go. Okay. Don't go nowhere. I'll just be a little longer than I want it to be. We'll be right back. With 5 locations, I always make it a point to visit Superior Grill. I love the food there. It's authentic Mexican food with a Louisiana twist. That menu has all your favorites: nachos, quesadillas, enchiladas, tacos, fajitas, hand-cut steaks, and the best margaritas in the state. You go to Superior for lunch or dinner, and folks, you're going to thank me for it. My lovely bride and I eat at Superior Grill every chance we get. They're on Line Avenue in Shreveport, Government Street, and Holland Road in Baton Rouge, and they're on St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans. But look, their new location in Lafayette is now open. Lafayette, you've been clamoring for it, and now they are open on College Saloon. I want to see Superior Grill packed with folks from Acadiana. The best Mexican food with a Louisiana twist is found at Superior Grill. Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans, and now Acadiana on College Saloon in Lafayette. This is Moon Griffon. I will see you at Superior Grill. This is Moon Griffon talking about another great Louisiana company, Hudco Roofing. Louisiana has some pretty crazy weather at times. Torrential rains, gusty winds, especially up north, hail, and of course, hurricanes. You got to remember your roof protects everything, you and your family and most of your possessions. And that's where Hudco Roofing comes in. These folks aren't just your average roofers. They're the #1 roofing company in the state. Whether you need a repair or a brand new roof, Hudco Roofing has you covered. Hudco is a CertainTeed Select Shingle Master and takes every roof all the way down to the decking to make sure there's no hidden damages. Hudco Roofing is also a state certified installer of the Fortified Roofing System, and that's a big deal, especially during hurricane season. Hudco specializes in residential and commercial roofing systems and coatings. Anywhere in Louisiana, you can get a free roof inspection and quote from Hudco Roofing. So go to HudcoRoofing.com. This is Moon Griffon. I trust Hudco Roofing of Louisiana, and so can you.
When the power goes. Since 1971, Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities has reached out to scholars, institutions, and local communities to enrich our shared culture. Want to know more about LEH and the rich culture of Louisiana? Visit leh.org for more information or to donate.
Did you know that 1 in 14 children experience homelessness at some point in time in their life? The Gifting Grace Project, Acadiana's homeless children's outreach, seeks to help them. Go to giftinggraceproject.com to partner with us or text GGP to 53555 and donate today.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by Champagnes, located in the Oil Center. Champagnes, going the extra mile.
Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. It's always a pleasure to be with you. It's Matthew James Business and Tax Reduction Hotline, 844-766-6607. So I want to finish on this thing with the Public Service Commission and Cocktail Couson. So he's got the money and he can run anything he wants against Julie, kind of like what Abraham had to put up with Eddie Rispone. Say anything he wants to if you don't have the money to get your message out and to defend yourself and to go after them. And Cocktail would be the easiest person to go after, the easiest one of all. Because what he did, now he's going after her for Kamala, and I know the story and all, it's a bunch of bunk, but you, just like they did with Ralph Abraham, you just say whatever you want to, you got the money, and who's going to fight you? So Cocktail did worse, way worse than she could have ever done. Anything she's done. Cocktail walked across the aisle bragging, we cut a deal with the Black Caucus, Kamala Harris voters, Barack Obama voters, people that voted with Bell Edwards to get penises cut off for 10-year-olds. That's who Cocktail Couson walked across the aisle and shook hands and made a deal so he could be Natural Resource Committee chair okay, with Clay Shakespeare voted for him for Speaker of the House with Democrats. And the Democrats are all Kamala Harris voters, voting for Kamala Harris, voting for the borders to be let loose and let people come across. He cut a deal with them. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. And I get to be the natural resource guy, and I get to raise money. While I'm in the House, I run in the Senate. Nobody runs against me. We're moving a guy forward that has no credentials, who's used more than anybody. He cut a deal with the Black Caucus and the Democrats to put Shady Shakespeare in, and that was a disaster for 4 years. They never fought Bell Edwards on anything. They went with Bell. That's this guy right here wants to run for Public Service Commission. And the only reason I'm talking about it is because I'm tired of watching commercials on how great he is and how he's a conservative. You know what he did when he walked across the aisle and cut a deal with Obama and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden voters that want the border open, that want to lock Trump up, okay? They want trans operations for 10-year-olds. This is what Cousin did. And then Shakespeare with the money and the money problems and all the and they went after the conservatives. They left 45 conservative Republicans on the sideline and spit on them and knifed them in the back. In the whole 4 years, they beat up the conservatives. Cousin was part of that same group. He can't deny anything I'm saying. What I'm saying is true, and he knows it. But nobody has the money to do it, to run against it. I could have been doing this for 6 months. I decided to just stick away, but I'm tired of seeing the BS with Cousin sending out stuff when there could be so much advertisement on who he is. I mean, that's what Cousin did. He walked across, and Bell Edwards and tax increases. He did all that. He cut a deal to be in power with the people who supports Kamala Harris right now and supported Bell Edwards 100% whatever Bell wanted. That's who Cocktail Cousin is. He voted for Bell Edwards' 1 cent sales tax. That's who Cocktail is. And more importantly, if you don't know anything else, the conservative Republicans got beat up for 4 years after he and the 22 other married men and women like Paula Pelosi Davis and Bogus Bo Boye, and I can go on and on, walked across and cut a deal with the left to put Shakespeare because him and Stuart Little, very little bishop, they got to be chairman. You remember Tanner Bad News Bear McGee? People like that. Zero Z Zarang, Paula Pelosi Davis. That's what they did to us. They hurt us. This guy hurt us more than Julie Quinn could have ever done anything. Yet he's got the money. He's got the money to frame the argument, and I got people actually buying in to what Cocktail Cousin, who's a backstabbing knifer, okay? Y'all gonna believe him? God have mercy on my soul. That's who he is. But see, nobody knows that. People that listen to me know it. All 9 listeners know it. That's who the guy is. Running as strong conservative. And one other thing. You go check out the article in the Hayride on the Green New Deal. He was sitting in the Natural Resource Committee. They had people begging him to stop all the stuff going on Lake Maurepas, and he sat right there and opposed the people to force the Green New Deal and carbon capture. How dare he run a commercial that he will fight it? He didn't fight it. He went along with it. I mean, you go look at the legislation. He never met a carbon capture, any of those deals that he didn't love. All right. House Bill 308 abstained from a vote on the House Bill 308, which would have required an environmental impact statement for carbon capture project that's happening in Lake Maurepas. The bill died 661. Cousin would have passed the bill, which would have made the project more difficult. He didn't pass it. He was the committee chair. He watched it, and when I guarantee you, folks, it died. He would have killed it if he had the vote. He voted against House Bill 267 of the committee, which replaced the moratorium on carbon capture projects in Lake Maurepas and the Maurepas Swamp Wildlife Management. That's him. He was sitting there. House Bill 267 again when it was on the floor, where the bill died for good. And Couson voted against House Bill 120 by Nicholas Marcarolo, which would have prevented the State Commission of Conservation from issuing permits for the Maurepas project. I mean, it doesn't match up what he's running, but he's got the money to say what he wants to because he's tied to the good old boy network system in our state, which has ruined this state every chance they had. But they became wealthy. They got a lot of people want him there so he can run for governor, lieutenant governor next. Oh, yeah, just move him up. He is the Green New Deal. He is the Green. You can go read what you want to. I'm just telling you. I when I saw this and people were sending me, somebody even wrote, boy, you got to endorse Couson now. Endorsing Couson. Oh, by the way, a lot of other bills intended to stop and control carbon capture. There was a bunch of bills during his tenure that wanted to stop this craziness. They died right there in the Natural Resource Committee. Couson was the chairman. He voted against the people who were begging him for help. They were begging him for help, and he voted against them. And like I told you, the Lafayette Republican Parish Executive Committee at PEC, that was absolutely a done deal, behind the back, in the face, get him the deal however you got to do it. And so they rigged the system where he could be, after he lost on 2 votes, they rigged the system where he can get the endorsement. Because it was embarrassing from his area. He didn't get the endorsement at first. Then they just played it off on some of this other BS. I'm just, look. I'm just telling you. Yeah, somebody just sent me to John Paul Couson that she's voting Kamala Harris. All that's a bunch of bull. I just told y'all. He's got a closer tie to Kamala Harris with his buddies in the Black Caucus that he voted with to get in power. And they all turned around and voted for Bell. They supported Bell Edwards when they supported Bell Edwards when Bell Edwards vetoed a bill allowing boys to go play and go into girls' locker rooms. We fought it. Bell Edwards vetoed it. It was the Black Caucus, the one John Paul Couson cut a deal with, that went against us on that. The one in the other bill we had that they ended up having to overturn in the veto session was the one where Bell Edwards was going to allow 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds boys to get their penises cut off. That was Democrats, the same Democrats that Bell Edwards Couson cut the deal with. They voted with Bell. Don't tell me about the connection. Like I said, they sending this out in Couson because they have the money. You put even money and let them go head to head. And people really knew who Couson was, he wouldn't get a vote. But that's not how it works in Louisiana. The man or woman with the most money normally will win because they can always take that message and put it out there over and over again so people start believing stuff. Just like Eddie Rispone did on Ralph Abraham, a good, decent man. Y'all vote how you want to vote, but please, when y'all send me this stuff, I'm not going to respond to it anymore because it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I gave you the John Paul Couson record. I could sit here and talk 3 hours about his record, but I'm not. I'm going to move on. Choose wisely, my friends. Choose wisely. We got to take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. I've been telling you about Schumacher Homes for a long time. Now, for a limited time, you can choose from 5 different financing offers and pick one that works best for you. Whether you're an active duty, military, or veteran, you can take advantage of the exclusive VA construction loan offer. You can lock in 30-year fixed financing for as low as 3.875. How about that? Looking to stay in your home and start construction right away? A stay-in-your-home loan might be right for you. With this option, you can stay in your home during construction and not worry about moving twice. And for you first-time home buyers, we're not going to forget you. For a limited time, they're offering 30-year fixed financing as low as 3.875. Other financing offers include no-cost refinancing, conventional loans, and FHA construction loans. If you're thinking of building your dream custom home, there's no time like the present to start building. SchumacherHomes.com. SchumacherHomes.com. Let them build your dream home. They're building dream homes one at a time. With the summer heat here, let's talk about your AC. You're looking for a reliable, locally owned company that you can trust? Call Adapt Concepts AC and Heating. They have been serving all of Acadiana, the surrounding area, and the Gulf of Mexico for over 6 years. For your home or business, Adapt Concepts AC and Heating has you covered with certified technicians specializing in everything from residential to large commercial HVAC systems available 24/7. These guys are focused on providing professional quality work and ensuring customer satisfaction every step of the way. You want the professionals? You want the best? This is them. Don't miss this summer special. 0% financing, up to $3,000 off qualifying high-efficiency equipment. Not only that, they will throw in a free 12-year part and labor warranty. That's right, 12 years part and labor. Wow. Don't you want to know more about them? Call them at 337-408-8202. That's 337-408-8202. Or go to the website, adapt-ac.com. That's adapt-ac.com. Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to be with you folks. I got 3 audio clips you don't want to miss coming up in the second hour of the program. One of them is that MSNBC, and actually played it, talking to black folks, men, mostly women, about Kamala Harris. You don't want to miss this. Ronald Reagan, basically talking about Jimmy Carter, but you could fast forward to Biden-Harris. You could fast forward right now to Biden-Harris. And then Liz Cheney throwing Kamala Harris under the bus just a few years ago. And so I think we ought to bring back a good one, but an old one, who Liz Cheney was then and who she is now, campaigning for the Marxist, Socialist, Communist Kamala Harris. By the way, when people say those names, we used to just throw it around. By the way, I got to do one other little funny. Walker will get a kick out of this. We've been celebrating Maddie's birthday. It's March. We finally came to her birthday today. Happy birthday, Maddie. Maddie's 28 years old. 28 years old. October 23rd, and I'm telling y'all, you just got to be at the Griffon household, or as we say at our house, the Griswolds. October 1st came. She comes in at 4:35 in the morning. Guess what month it is? You got 1 eye open. It's October. She go back to sleep. So the countdown started. And let me tell you something. Cannot wait for her birthday to be over. If y'all had a clue. But anyway, she's 28 today, so we have to say happy birthday to Miss Maddie, who is a proud 28 years old. I can tell you that right now. She is a proud 28 years old. And she listens to this program every day against her daddy's advice. But she does listen. And I still say I got so many stories on Maddie I could talk about. And if you don't know, Maddie's my daughter, but she's my special need daughter. I had 3 boys, and Maddie. Maddie's not the youngest. Walker is, who produces the program. Actually, Daniel's the oldest. He produced the program at one time, too. But anyway, I'll tell you, if you think your kids won't listen, Bobby Jindal was in office. And as you know, a guy that supported Jindal started challenging pretty quick, and I lost radio stations. People got mad at me, but that's fine. It all came back around. It took years. And sometimes it takes that with me. It takes a while for people to, after they get mad at me a while, they come around and say, boy, you were right. And that's one I heard a million. I wish I had a nickel every time somebody told me. But that's beside the point. Anyway, so Maddie comes on every now and then, and she, because of whatever the reason. she'll end up with me on a day she sits in the radio station. So she likes to say, and y'all all heard it if you listen to me through the years, and you heard Maddie go, well, listen, this is my daddy. Welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show. Now here's my daddy, whatever. And we don't really rehearse it. I let her say what she wants to. And that didn't work out too good one time because Bobby Jindal was in office. And I forget who was producing at the time. We were in Monroe. And I said, okay, Maddie. I think it was Greg Gullius. And I said, Greg's going to point to you and you say, welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show. So she said, okay, Daddy. So she gets on there and she goes, welcome back to the Moon Griffon Show. And the next words out of her mouth were, let me tell you about Bobby Jindal. Let me tell you about Bobby Jindal. Man, we cutting delay buttons and we were cutting the mic off, and we all falling out laughing, and Maddie starts laughing. She was ready to go, man. She was going to tell you about Bobby Jindal. I should have let her tell you. She might have articulated it a lot better than I did. So anyway, and I've had other good times on this. But anyway, she's 28. Happy birthday to Miss Maddie. And yes, let's see, we got a birthday party tonight. We got one. She's going somewhere Thursday night, and then Saturday night we're going somewhere. So, and we might even have to make a trip to Baton Rouge to see the rest of the family. But trust me, nobody's ready for her birthday to get here more than me. Me and her mama. Because, boy, you hear about it. Anyway, just a little funny. 844-766-6607. By the way, I've read there was a letter to the editor in the Devil's Advocate. And the guy who wrote was James Theus, M.D., New Orleans. And he took a shot at Doc Abraham. You know, Doc Abraham is a new Surgeon General. And he made comments on the pandemic. And the doctor said it raised concerns because Doc needs to understand this is Dr. Abraham for a reason. He treated patients. He treated people under COVID in a private deal. And I don't know this doctor, but I bet you he treated COVID under the Obama plan, which was where doctors work for hospitals. And doctors that were independent could work as they always did with patients. They treat the patient. Doctors that worked under the Obama plan where they all had to run all these hospitals to make their money. And by the way, I understand it. They had to do whatever the government told them. And so he said, as a physician, I expect better. Ralph Abraham's public disdain and disregard for proven life-saving health interventions, including masking and vaccination. I wish this doctor would prove one person saved from a damn mask that you buy at Walmart. He said he is incompatible with his stationary responsibility to serve as the state's leading advocate for wellness. That's not true. He was independent. He was what you probably used to be, Doc. Nobody died in his watch, Doc. Why you didn't go ask him what he did instead of you making the decision on what you're saying? Abraham seems unaware the state which adopted recommendations, public self-measures, including masking and vaccination. Masking, the dumbest thing. Under John Bel Edwards' leadership. Oh, my God. Anyway, they're free to take shots like that, but Abraham did it and did it right. And this doctor's probably under government-watched health care, which is going to be the biggest disaster that we ever put on our people. I just thought it was funny that he sent a letter to the editor, Pop and Doc, and Doc did everything right. He treated his patients. That's all he had to do. We'll be right back.
Look at this outrageous insurance bill.
Man, everything Washington does makes life more expensive. Thank God we have Governor Landry.
What's he doing?
Well, while Washington's made a mess of things, inflation, gas, food, and the economy, Jeff Landry's fighting back, recruiting new jobs, trimming state government, and standing up for us.
Thank you. Everyone's struggling. Everyone except for the insurance companies. They're getting rich off record profits, while my rates keep going up.
Jeff Landry knows that. He's taking action. Jeff signed nearly 30 bills to reduce rates and vetoed a bill that lets insurance companies profit even more.
Oh, but they didn't like that.
Political insiders aren't happy, but Jeff won't slow down. He just keeps fighting for us and winning.
Governor Jeff Landry always puts families over special interests and fights for what's fair. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Do you love the Moon Griffon Show, the #1 radio show in Louisiana? Would you like to show your love for the show? Wouldn't it be cool if finally Moon offered up some merchandise? And what if that merchandise would help benefit a charity in some way? You know, that's a lot of questions. The answers are coming Friday on the Moon Griffon Show. Moon meets merch. How y'all are meets merch. Specific details Friday morning on the Moon Griffon Show, the voice of Louisiana.
Now the big wireless your talk.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pro Studio.
He's going to vote early, like more than 20 million Americans already have. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Even though former President Trump just told the Brian Kilmeade Fox News radio show.
I'm very mixed. You know, I have the old standard of the Tuesday vote and all.
Again, calling Vice President Harris unfit.
We've had a low IQ person for the last 4 years. We cannot afford to have it any longer.
The former president will hold a town hall and then rally today in Georgia, where Fox's Jonathan Sari reports more than 1 in 4 voters have cast ballots already.
Emory political science professor Andra Gillespie says it's hard to know who's ahead in Georgia because the state does not register voters by party.
People are going to pay attention to if you have access to the voter files and people's prior voter history, the types of ballots that some people may have pulled in primaries.
The Georgia Supreme Court has rejected efforts to immediately reinstate new election rules passed by the Republican-controlled state election board.
There's yet another Republican endorsing Vice President Harris. Ann Veneman, who was the first female agriculture secretary in President George W. Bush's administration. She calls Trump tariff proposals dangerous for rural America. Harris will have a town hall tonight in Pennsylvania pushing for abortion rights, telling NBC News.
A basic freedom has been taken from the women of America. The freedom to make decisions about their own body.
Now to Israel, where Fox's Matt Finn reports.
For the second morning in a row here, around 8 o'clock, the sirens go off in the sky. People rush into the shelters, and then you look up and see rockets in the sky above Tel Aviv being intercepted.
Fired from Lebanon by Hezbollah, which confirms an Israeli strike has killed the Iran-backed group's next leader, set to replace Hassan Nasrallah, who Israel took out in a bombing last month. The housing market slowing down even more. Previously owned home sales dropped 1% last month from August to the slowest annual rate in 14 years, despite falling mortgage rates. The National Association of Realtors says the median price of houses that did sell rose 3% from a year ago. America's listening to Fox News.
Life takes a toll on our bodies. No way around it. Whether it's sitting hours on end at your computer or working a physical job, over time, your body pays the price. There is, however, an effective way to turn back the clock on pain. Relief Factor. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor helps support your body's response to inflammation. The difference, instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it for good. And it's 100% drug-free. If the pains that come with living a full life are affecting you, do as so many others have. Turn back the clock on pain with Relief Factor. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. When you feel good, it's amazing how much more you get out of life. So visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Try it for only $19.95. While we can't stop aging, not yet, we can stop pain. Turn back the clock with
Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, are specially trained volunteers that help secure safe homes for abused and neglected children. Don't let these innocent victims slip through the cracks of our complicated legal system. Get involved today. Call CASA at 268-5111. This nonprofit organization moment brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
From the moments that shape our lives to those that shape our days, broadcasters are there, delivering the most trusted news that keeps you informed when it matters. We are your neighbors, a trusted voice, a lifeline. We are broadcasters. Text TV to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Vermilion Catholic Screamin' Eagle football is back on the air. Listen to our sister station, Classic Rock 105.1, Friday night for all the action. Pre-game at 6:30, kickoff at 7. Head coach Brock Prejean has his team primed to make another championship run to the Dome. So don't miss any of it. If your business would like to advertise during Vermilion Catholic football, call 337-296-2987. That's 296-2987. VC football, Friday night on our sister station, 105.1. Go Eagles.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. It is always great to be with you. It is Hump Day. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. By the way, I appreciate all the happy birthdays to Maddie. I will make sure we tell her. Somebody emailed me, said, Moon, invite John Paul Cuson to come on the show. Guarantee you won't show. I have invited him. He's always welcome. Ran into Cocktail. Oh, God, a month or two ago. I'd been a couple months ago. And I laughed and cut up with him. I don't dislike him personally. I'm just telling you his voting record. They don't like me. But his partner was with him. I know her well. And there was a couple other people. And I said, hey, when you come on the program? And you're welcome all the time. Well, I might, but they're not coming. He's going to come as much as Stuart Little, very little Bishop is coming. And Blank Page Cortez. But I wish I could tell you the real nickname I wanted to use for Cortez. I was told I shouldn't probably say that on air. But I wanted to say it. I really did, but I couldn't do it. Anyway, he's invited. Cocktail can call right now. I'll put him on air right now. All I want him to do is come defend his record, and I got a lot of questions for him. But he ain't kind of typical elected official. They don't come on here and answer all these questions. In a way, I don't blame him. I wouldn't be ugly to him because I don't think he's every time I tell you these people are probably nice guys and all that, and I see what kind of advertising they run, and I start questioning the nice guy part of them. But that's it. Anyway, let's move on. We got presidential election. Folks, go vote. Early voting all the way through next Tuesday with the exception of Sunday. Make sure you vote. It is important you vote in Louisiana. It is. One of the elections, because Republicans are outperforming Democrats, and Democrats, especially blacks, don't want to go vote for them. Kamala Harris. Cleo Fields was handed a district. And what would be funny if he could, Elbert Guillory's the Republican in that race. He's a black gentleman. He's been on the program many times. A lot of people know Elbert. He was a state senator for a while. If the Republicans would turn out and vote for Guillory, and Cleo Fields and Guillory in a December runoff, if President Trump's the winner, folks, we could beat Cleo. You want to send shockwaves to everybody? Don't let Cleo Fields win in the first round. Republicans turn out in that district. Now, here's the good news. The whole state can vote in that district. The whole state. From Iberville Parish, I was at went to my mom's home, and there's Cleo Fields signs. There are Cleo Fields signs in Baton Rouge. There are Cleo Fields signs up right below Ellick. There's Cleo Fields signs close to Monroe and Shreveport. The whole state gets to vote on this gerrymandered district for Cleo Fields. The blessing would be if people would go out and vote for Elbert Guillory, the only Republican in the race that I know of. If they would go out and vote for Guillory, and we have a better turnout than they do, and Cleo don't get to 50%, we can beat him in December. We'll have an opportunity to beat him. You got to have people go vote against Cleo Fields. There's no reason to put Cleo Fields back in there, even though the district was made for him. It was made for him. Man, wouldn't that be a blessing to just beat him? God and mercy. Folks, things like that can happen if we turn out. Not to mention, we want to give President Trump a big victory here. We can only do our part. Good news is, been record turnout first few days. And I don't know if it's fallen off any because I hadn't talked to anybody, but I hadn't been keeping up with it either. I'm just saying, what a shocker. You want to send shockwaves to the people in the state of Louisiana? Let's beat Cleo Fields and Senator Edward Guillory to Washington. Even though that district is gerrymandered and it was wrong to even draw that district. You want to send shockwaves, man? If we could have a runoff and Mr. Guillory's in the runoff, we can beat Cleo. But if Cleo walks in there and he gets it because it was drawn for him, and that's a whole new ballgame. All righty. So, Walker, let's do this. So, we've heard Liz Cheney, a Bill Cassidy-type Republican, out there smashing Trump. Remember, she's the congresswoman. She was in Wyoming. And she had to run, and she ran a couple years ago. And in the closed primaries, she got smoked by 40 points because she was so anti-Trump. Now, her goal is to beat Trump. And she's supporting Kamala Harris. She's on the road with Miss Harris. She's on road with the VP. She has sold out conservatives, Christians, Republicans in the country for Harris to beat Trump. But you know, it was only a few years ago that Liz Cheney didn't feel this way. Liz Cheney got her feelings hurt from Trump, so guess what? So I'm going to play a clip of Liz Cheney talking about Kamala Harris, talking about her, not the new version of Cheney now. This was the old version of Cheney when she acted like a conservative sometimes and acted like a Republican. Here's her comments on Kamala Harris. Listen to this.
As somebody who is a centrist, and in one fell swoop here, he has put somebody on the ticket whose voting record in the Senate is to the left of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. So I think that, the American people are going to look at the substance of this. They're going to look at what she stood for in the past. They're going to look at what she said during the primary election. And it's very clear. She is a radical liberal. She's somebody that has said we ought to spend $32 trillion on Medicare for all. If you look at her record as well in California, she did, in fact, essentially ban gun sales with executive action. And she threatened during the primaries to do the same thing if she's elected, if she as somebody who is a centrist. And in one fell swoop here, he...
Hold it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and cue it up one more time. Well, this is the Liz Cheney that's campaigning with Harris. She's talking about Harris as the VP pick for Biden. This is you think Cheney is driven by total hate of Donald Trump? This is the problem with the Republicans. This is the problem with the Mitt Romneys and the Lisa Murkowskis and the Psycho Bills. He's right in there with them. Psycho Bill's got to run in 2 years. Psycho Bill has to run the same closed primaries that Liz Cheney ran in. Ain't that cool? That's why I don't worry about how much money he raises. This is the same Liz Cheney that's out there beating up Donald Trump. I mean, this is like unbelievable what this lady's done. And all of a sudden, she's flipped so bad on Trump, she's pushing the woman. She's pushing her to be the president of the United States. I mean, think about that. Think about what I'm telling you. How can somebody flip so bad? I mean, I'm just so puzzled at how you can flip so bad. And look what you thought of Kamala Harris. Now you're out there bragging. It's an easy sell for Donald Trump and them. Here's what he said. Here's what she's saying about Harris now. Look what she said about Harris then. Do you trust Liz Cheney? No. Nobody trusts her. Nobody trusts her to be leader in a conservative Republican. Folks, her own people that knew her, these incumbents like her, 2 years before, she won the election by 67% of the vote. 2 years later, she lost by 37%. Everybody knows who Liz Cheney is, and the people that know her best rejected her in the Republican Party primary, which is going to happen to Psycho Bill Cassidy. She had all the money, too. She had all the money she wanted. Psycho Bill has all the money he wanted, but in a closed primary, Psycho Bill's money will mean nothing. Nothing. just like hers meant nothing. She had the name. She had the Cheney name. She had money. She got drilled. Can't wait to be a Republican again in 2 years and vote against Psycho Bill Cassidy because there's no difference between them. So let me play one more time. This is what you're hearing and watching on TV with Cheney. This is what she just said less than 4 years ago about the one she's pushing now, Miss Harris. Here we go.
As somebody who is a centrist, and in one fell swoop here, he has put somebody on the ticket whose voting record in the Senate is to the left of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. So I think that, the American people are going to look at the substance of this. They're going to look at what she stood for in the past. They're going to look at what she said during the primary election. And it's very clear. She is a radical liberal. She's somebody that has said we ought to spend $32 trillion on Medicare for all. If you look at her record as well in California, she did, in fact, essentially ban gun sales with executive action. And she threatened during the primaries to do the same thing if she's elected, if she.
All right, that's it, Walt. So there it is. So
you have criminal.
So what I'm saying about Harris, I know she's not what I'm getting ready to say, but what I'm saying about somebody like Liz Cheney, folks, they're not principled. They're not. They have no core beliefs. It is no way to go from talking about how bad she was to how we love her now. But really, her job is just, she just tried to beat up on Donald Trump. That's all that's going on right now. So I'm just getting a kick out of watching people like that. I do. I get a kick out of watching people like her. They can be all the way left if they need to be. They can be all the way right there if they need to be. Okay? They can be anywhere they need to be with that R by their name. Just look what she was before she got erased as a congressman. She got erased by the people who knew her best. She got erased. She was beat so bad and won so big 2 years before. So let Psycho Bill raise all the money he wants to. Let him raise all the money he wants to. Let the media keep putting out there, he got so much money. Listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because this woman had all that going in a better name than Psycho Bill. It won't matter. All right, when we get back, I want to play. MSNBC went out and interviewed blacks, especially black women, on Harris. Folks, this says it all. This says it all. We'll play that when we get back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show.
As Louisiana's only fiberglass manufacturer and fabricator, C-Safe Fiberglass Grading and Structural Systems has provided corrosion-resistant products to the Gulf Coast for over 45 years. Our fiberglass grading, cable trays, and structural shapes are ideal to replace corroded, rotting building products and can be custom fabricated by the best fiberglass craftsmen in the world, right here in Lafayette. Contact C-Safe or visit our website at csafe.com. That's SEA like the ocean, SAFE.com.
If you've got some projects to do around the house and you need the voice of experience, of local voice, somebody that can help you and knows Louisiana, you need to check out Stein Home & Yard. They're a Louisiana company founded, established here. They've been based here. Their story dates back all the way to 1946. Stein Home & Yard has all the things you need to make your house ready for fall. Great deals on fall plants like mums, as well as all sorts of handy items you need for your house. Need to upgrade your power tool game? They've got great deals on DeWalt power tools. They also have great deals on grills for your next tailgate for the big game this weekend. Traeger pellet grills, Weber grills, Charbroil, so many great brands. And it's all right there at your fingertips. Just pull them up, steinhome.com. Steinhome.com is where you need to go to find the greatest deals on your home improvement needs. Steinhome.com, a great Louisiana company.
This is Moon Griffon. The biggest complaint about solar power is the battery storage. Well, no more. Now, Solar Louisiana offers giant battery storage solutions from the top names like Panasonic, LG, and more. Solar Louisiana will install residential home solar systems with enough battery storage to get you through any outages. And say goodbye to your electric bill, as Solar Louisiana will custom fit a system to your electrical needs. Online at solarlouisiana.net. Your energy independence company, Solar Louisiana.
Do you crave all? The entire world watched.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And humanity saw that the sky was not the limit. Achievement. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com.
Dear John, uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. But when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
To get your high blood pressure to a healthy range, visit heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Atlas Foundation Repair, 800-256-1010. Louisiana-owned Atlas Foundation Repair, 800-256-1010. Call Tony Arpino. I have known him for years. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great day. Great to be with you. It is a Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. Man, I forgot, Walker, to send you. I'm going to send it to you. I got a great clip from that really brainiac James call. I got to play it. I want to send it to you, Walker, so you can download that one too. All right. So let's get right to it because I don't have but a few minutes in this. So MSNBC decided to go talk to people in the neighborhood. And this lady's basically going to focus on the women. There's men and women at this meeting if you see it. But she focused on the women. Now, this is people they automatically take it for granted, going to all vote for Harris. And they actually put this out, which I was kind of shocked. So here is MSNBC reporter talking to our black friends about Kamala Harris. Here we go.
And let me start with the women here about Kamala Harris.
She's a woman of color. I'm not putting her down because of that, and I'm not putting her down because she's a woman. I'm not a feminist, so I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, I don't think that she has the personality. I don't think that she has what it takes to go up against Putin and go up against these other presidents that are built for this. I don't want to be scared because my president is scared. I want my president to feel secure and manly and about it.
We brought up gender, right? Like, do you think it matters that she's a woman and people aren't comfortable having a woman in a top leadership role?
No, I don't think that, because most men, they love their mothers. They love their wives. So as a woman, most men, they respect the woman, but she just don't have the qualification or the education to really run America because she don't have the experience. She don't understand our struggles. And for me to believe you for another 4 years, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're saying the same thing that you said 4 years ago.
So the fact that she's the vice president,
that's
to
just
you
the
is
bottom line.
You're like, you've been here, you've had a chance.
Yes. Well, for me, the very first time I ever heard the name Kamala Harris, it was in association to locking up parents for a truancy. That was the first time I ever heard of her name. And I really didn't understand how this person claims to be a black woman, but yet she's locking up black women and black men and separating families.
This is the thing that is, Trump talks about this a lot. He says, Kamala Harris became black when it was convenient.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about, do you agree with him on that? Do you feel like she's wearing her blackness?
Absolutely. When she's sworn into the Senate, it was as the first Indian American.
Thank you.
Which is, it's fine. We don't care.
We all know she's not black. Let's understand that. We are all clear of that. But my point of view, like I told you earlier, she's already been there. She's in office right now.
All right, that's it. Man, walk a whole lot. Man, that's just like, this is what people think. This is the blacks that normally vote Democrat. That's why Obama's out there telling the brothers, you better go and vote the brothers. They know what's going on. How can Kamala Harris win anything? She's a fraud. These are people who know her best. These are people that have been watching her. She's a fraud. I mean, she is such a fraud. I mean, this is just like unbelievable. Walk, how long was that? We don't have enough time to play it again. Okay. Might play it again. I want to play it again. I just want you to hear what people are saying about the woman. You got Liz Cheney saying this is the person we need to vote for. I mean, this is blacks that are looking up and going, man, this woman didn't do nothing for us. They can say the same thing about Barack Hussein Obama. Exact same thing they said about her they could say about Barack Obama. Because Barack Obama's running the show. They may not correlate that with Obama, but he's the guy doing all this with the Democrat Party now. I'm just saying, this is like unbelievable. But then again, people see what's going on. They see what's going on. Man, black, white, green, yellow, Democrat, Republican. Most people that stop with a brain and think about what's going on, they would never vote for this woman. They wouldn't vote for a Democrat ever again. This is what they believe. This is where they've been headed at for 20, 30 years or longer, probably a lot longer. Probably back in the 30s and 40s. I mean, this is who they are. Control your life. Democrats, they don't have policies that make people's lives better. They have policies that destroy lives, destroy communities, destroy cities and states, and destroy countries. That's who they are. Party of filth and party of hate. About a woman and asked her, y'all like killing babies? Because that's what she's out there pushing. She made a comment that no religious restrictions on abortion. Okay. All right, I didn't hear it. All right, we got to go take a break. Be right back. I've been bragging about Dino Hardwoods for a long time. A good friend, Charles Altman. They do an excellent job. And if you're looking for unique or hard-to-find hardwood lumber, plywood, and molding, it's Dino Hardwoods. That's where you need to go. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com. Trust Dino Hardwoods for all your hardwood lumber and cypress needs. With the holiday season fast approaching, as you know, a timeless handmade gift using quality lumber by Dino just means more. With 3 great locations to serve you now, Broussard, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, and now he's expanded in Tyler, Texas. Folks, there's something for every discerning woodworker at Dino. Go to DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com, and check out the unique and hard-to-find hardwood, lumber, plywood, and molding that you can't just find anywhere. Charles Altman, trust me, is not a better man in the business. He knows what he's doing, and he wants to service you. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com.
If you are a loved one or suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metayer.
We help people through their detox with minimal withdrawal symptoms. Even though it's a 10-day treatment, I look at the first 4 or 5 days as the brain restoration piece. And when the brain restoration piece turns on, that's when we have patients go, wow, a light bulb turned on or a switch was turned on. All of a sudden, their prefrontal cortex is working and their midbrain is also working. They're not craving. They're thinking clearly. They see things clearly and they have more confidence.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 225-755-9566.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
225-755-9566. 755-9566. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com.
This planet is... This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
welcome back. It is always awesome to be with you. 844-766-6607. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Always an honor to have you with me. You can email me, moon@moongriffon.com. I try to read some emails on the air periodically. So if you send something, just like the guy asked a question, if you got a question, you can ask. I'm not promised I can answer it. But somebody asked about Cocktail Kutzall coming on. All you got to do is call me and say, let's roll. He wants to come defend his record. Come on. But the problem is most of them don't want to defend their record. So, let me bring in the next nut. By the way, Will Mills is going to join me after about coming out of the next break about elections and what's going on around the country and all these elections that the Republicans have to win in the House and Senate as well. But James Carville, I think he's just a fruitcake, a nut, a Looney Tune, and I do believe that he embarrasses the country, our state, every time he goes on TV. Now, they interviewed him the other day. He's telling people that if Trump wins, we ain't going to have a Constitution. He's saying Trump's saying that. Trump was president for 4 years. I don't remember him ever breaking the Constitution. And we are, he does say, well, whatever we are, Representative Republican, whatever we are, he's going to throw that out. What do you think mandating people to drive an electric vehicle or mandating we get rid of fossil fuels? That's communism. That destroys the Constitution big time. That's an outright lie. They have beat up the Constitution with the borders they beat up. We're supposed to protect our borders. That's constitutional. And the Democrats have let them just swoon in here. Okay? The Constitution should have protected somebody like Trump. They went after him for everything they possibly can, and nobody stopped them. Democrats are the ones, and Obama said it best, the Constitution told us what we couldn't do and never told us what we could do. They're the ones beating the Constitution. They're the ones wanted to be a living, breathing instrument so they can change it all the time and trample the hell out of it. So here's James Carville. And like I said, I think James Carville has become one of the biggest nuts they put out there. And remember, he's the only guy I know of that ESPN had to apologize for being on ESPN with his stupidity. So here he is again with more stupidity. It's about a minute long. Listen to this.
We live under a set of laws. What's at stake? And people say, what's at stake in this election? Okay, the Constitution's at stake. The whole idea of I don't know, what do you call it, a constitutional republic or, whatever highbrow people call it. The idea that we live under a set of laws is literally at risk, and he's telling you that. And people want to know about weakness among males of color. Okay? You're going to arrest all of it. You don't think you have a stake in this election? Guess what? You're not going to do very well. I'm not going to do well. You're not going to do well. All right? When the paddy wagon comes, you and I are going to be in the back of it bouncing around. And it's not going to be very much fun. And they will tell you, the judge said, I'm sorry, Mr. Melville. I'm sorry, Mr. Carville. Mr. Trump said he was going to get rid of the Constitution. I have no choice but to enforce the democratic norms of this country. Maybe that'll happen. It's not far-fetched.
If somebody comes for a paddy wagon for James Carville, it won't be Donald Trump. It'd be some psych ward. This guy's nuts. I'm tired of him. Raging Cage. That's embarrassing to the Raging Cage. LSU. He embarrasses LSU. Had his LSU hat on again? It's an embarrassment, a total embarrassment to the state. Nobody's come and get him in a paddy wagon. You got President Biden saying yesterday they need to lock Trump up. The President of the United States, the Democrat President of the United States, right there, and Kamala Harris has said the same thing, and that's who Carville's supporting, and he's talking about Trump coming to arrest him. I mean, they just flip everything on what they're already doing. James Carville, if anybody comes to you, it's going to be family members that said, look, you need to come get him, and you better bring a straitjacket for Carville. Because that's where he looked like he's headed at. This guy is insane. Just wish he had quit wearing the LSU hat. God have mercy. Put a picture. Why don't you put a Joe Biden or Obama hat on? I'd feel a lot better when you said something stupid. They're doing this. It's exactly what they're doing. They're the ones that talking about putting people in camps so get our minds right. They're the ones. They're people the ones saying that. We need to get people's minds right. We need to have somewhere where they can go, some kind of camp or somewhere they can get re-informed of stuff. This is what people are saying about the Green New Deal. You got to inform us and let us know that our climate denial. That's Carville's people saying that. I'm telling you, man, Carville, he's in the same. He looks like to me he's in that same circle with Biden. I don't see the difference. But let's listen to somebody with some intelligence, okay? Let's listen to Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was talking about Jimmy Carter, but he just should have been talking about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Here's a clip of Reagan from years ago when he was running against Carter. Carter was a horrible president. Since then, we've had two worse presidents than him, Barack Obama and Joe Biden. So he might not be the worst anymore. But this is the late, great, legendary man of God, Ronald Reagan.
Yes, the mighty music of American economic progress has been all but silenced by 4 years of Mr. Carter's failures. Where once there was a great confident roar of American progress and growth and optimism, there is now the eerie, ghostly silence of economic stagnation, unemployment, inflation, and despair. Mr. Carter recently was asked by a young woman why our country could not work out a solution to unemployment and inflation. He said, you know, people tend to dwell on temporary inconveniences and the transient problems that our nation faces. Unemployment, a temporary inconvenience? Inflation, a transient problem? These words from an American president? Yes.
Okay, hold it, Walker. We're going to do it again. Ronald Reagan's talking about now, when we've been begging Biden and them to do something about inflation, they said, well, we knew we were going to have some inflation. It ain't as bad as it was. Barack Obama said prices have to go higher to get the Green New Deal in. Ronald Reagan nailed it way back then, folks. He nailed it on Carter, but look, fast forward, the worst two presidents, Biden and Obama, way worse than Carter. Carter was horrible. This is what they're telling people. They're telling their voter, don't worry about the inflation. It's inflation. It's inconvenient. It's not inconvenient. Hell, people starve to death under inflation when it goes too high. It's not inconvenience. It's people trying to live and eat. My God, these people are insane. They're doing the same thing. Reagan said it then, but it applies for today. Last time, listen to Reagan. By the way, if you want to compare him to James Carville, please don't try this. It would be embarrassing for old serpent head. Here we go.
Yes, the mighty music of American economic progress has been all but silenced by 4 years of Mr. Carter's failures. Where once there was a great confident roar of American progress and growth and optimism, there is now the eerie, ghostly silence of economic stagnation, unemployment, inflation, and despair. Mr. Carter recently was asked by a young woman why our country could not work out a solution to unemployment and inflation. He said, you know, people tend to dwell on temporary inconveniences and the transient problems that our nation faces. Unemployment, a temporary inconvenience? Inflation, a transient problem? These words from an American president? Yes, the mighty music of American economic progress has been all but silenced.
Folks, this is Reagan had it right then, and he has it right now. This inflation stuff ain't a little temporary blip that messes up your life. This inflation destroys lives. It destroys lives. And they don't have a problem. They don't have a clue. And you heard the lady when we were talking to the black ladies talking about prices and paying stuff, and Kamala Harris saying had a clue and why they didn't fix it in the last 4 years. I'm going to give her 4 more years to fix it. No, I ain't. They won't fix it. It would be incredibly worse. Not to mention the debt Reagan didn't talk about. A lot of debt. Anyway, we got to take a break. Hopefully joined by Will Mills coming out of the break. All right, you're listening to the Moon Reform Show. Nestled in gently rolling hills in North Louisiana is a place that produces the finest Louisiana wines around, Landry Vineyards. This place is phenomenal. Not only are they passionate about growing wine grapes and making Landry Vineyards wine, they also have cottages and RV sites you can rent, tours, and live music on Saturdays and tastings Monday through Saturday. Available in over 650 stores throughout Louisiana, I encourage you to visit and try Landry wine direct from Landry Vineyards. This is another great Louisiana company that has my full support, and they are Louisiana certified. A red blend they labeled Bayoutage, Blackberry Merlot, Cabs, Rosé, Petite Syrah, dry and sweet whites, and many, many other wines. Learn more about their wines and their vineyard online at LandryVineyards.com. This is Moon Griffon. My lovely bride and I love the wines from this great Louisiana company, Landry Vineyards, and so will you. Go visit their beautiful winery and find them in your local grocery store. If they don't have Landry Vineyards wine, ask and ask again. LandryVineyards.com. Woo, good wine right here.
It started with direct messages. That's how they got to my son. Gavin was just 17 and looking forward to college. He was contacted by online predators pretending to be a teenage girl. He was the victim of sexual extortion. In less than 2 hours after that first message, Gavin died by suicide. It's a pain I don't want any other parent to feel. Social media is causing an epidemic of bullying, anxiety, and depression, and it's leaving kids vulnerable to the kind of predators that targeted my son. We have to hold big tech accountable and pass the Kids Online Safety Act. I couldn't protect my son, but now it's my mission to make sure all kids are protected. I'm a father and a proud conservative, and I'm here to tell Speaker Johnson, pass the Kids Online Safety Act, because nothing is more important than protecting our kids.
Paid for by Issue One Action, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Issue1action.org.
Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to be with you, folks. Don't forget, Election Day is here. Moon Election Day to the 5th. It's here. You vote early. Vote early now through Tuesday, with the exception of Sunday. Then Election Day would be November 5th. But Election Day is here. It's now. Welcome Will Mills to the program. Will Mills, no stranger to our program. Mr. Will, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Moon. Always great to hear you, man.
I appreciate you joining us. You know, you get involved. You're very involved in a lot of the things that go on. I know not only here but around the country. And I know you got a message for people. I get your messages. They're always great. You actually put a lot of facts and information behind it. So what are you going to tell people? And do they have access to what you set out as well?
Well, Moon, I'm sure you can put it online. The text and the email I sent you, welcome to do that.
Okay.
I just try every few years, every couple of cycles, to work with some of the activist groups around the country that, in a presidential race especially, and that are boots on the ground in these key states that we talk about. And you know, we know about Trump and all that he's doing in these battleground states, you know, that we list all the time: Arizona and Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. We know them all, Georgia. And there are Senate candidates in these battleground states, as well as other Senate candidates. And so we support these groups that put boots on the ground. And if in these different states, if Trump can win big, then he'll drag the candidates, the Senate candidates, the House candidates along. So that's what we try to do. We try to educate people in our circle and around, as we spend lots of time and effort each year staying on top of these races around the country, and especially the organizations like Turning Point USA and the Family Research Council, Susan B. Anthony, pro-life, focusing mainly on pro-life Senate candidates. They're all involved with on-the-ground activists trying to beat on doors, educate voters, and mainly this election will be about turnout in these key states. Can the president, can these Senate candidates and these House candidates, can they really get the people to turn out in such a wave that no matter what the opposition does, we can win?
Yeah, these groups that you're talking about, Mr. Will, how do they get involved? I mean, what all do they actually do? Because people would go, well, I like this group. What are they going to do? So when they're getting involved, is it direct mail pieces? Is it getting out there and letting people know through the churches? How's all that work? And what kind of information are they providing?
Well, the way it works, Moon, is these are boots on the ground folks. They'll hire and work with volunteers in each state. Go online with Susan B. Anthony, Pro-Life America, and they'll show you what they're doing in all the states and how many doors are knocked on, how many one-on-one conversations, how they're involved with the churches. And each and every one of these groups has a very active grassroots organization on the grounds in these key battleground states.
Yeah. So they get involved. They got boots on the ground. Let's be honest. It's still the most important thing we probably do. I know people connect with social media and things of that nature, but there's nothing like people being on the ground that you can talk to.
Well, you're correct, Moon. And social media is great and it's educational, but you know, a one-on-one conversation with you and I sitting around having a cup of coffee or beer or whatever, it just works better. And the Democrats, you know, they do this what Barack Obama calls his community organization. This is what they do. And they do it all year long with all their activist donors around the country. And these groups here have been very, very engaged in these different races around the state, around the country. And these races are extremely critical.
Yep.
If a Senate candidate in, say, Pennsylvania, the guy that's running up there is running against an incumbent.
Yep.
But if he can turn out voters and then Trump turns out those same voters, then the more that happens, the more likely we can win.
You know, I thought
this year is the off year is the on year for our side. In the Senate, we have a much better chance of capturing the Senate because of the way the rules work in this cycle. And it'd be critical if somehow the Democrat candidate wins the presidency, we have to control the Senate and the House. That's very key, is that the form of government we have. So,
you know, one of the things I was joking with my audience about, I thought would be cool. I'm looking at early voting. I'm not into early voting for us, but it's been very important. And I noticed in that new district that was created for Cleo Fields that Elbert Guillory, with the way the voters are turning out, if they continue to turn out, Mr. Guillory forces a runoff with Cleo Fields. That's a December runoff. That becomes a very, very winnable race at that time. That we could be playing one of the last elections for the House if we can get that thing to the runoff. And the way the voting trends are showing in Louisiana, that would be another one that a lot of people could come in and focus on if it gets to that point.
Well, that's why we've been supporting him. And as you know, Albert, you've known him through the years. He's just been one of the most outspoken black politicians, whatever, through the years. And for him to be able to get in a runoff here, and remember, the district is made up of, I think, something like 45% white voters, but a lot of rural voters and a lot of the black men, they're living in the country. They work hard. They go to the polls, and they're not enamored with Kamala.
No.
So I think there's a shot there. And the thing is with a 3-vote majority in the House.
Yep.
Can you imagine us just walking away from that race?
Yeah. No, I don't think you need to, and I'm glad people didn't. And like I said, with the voter turnout, if it stays like that, I think Elbert Guillory would have a great shot. I mean, a really good shot. And I'm not saying win it in the first round, but I'm saying get him in a runoff, and then let's see what happens. Because then we get all of the four. If Trump was to win, it would just be a big advantage. But anyway, Mr. Will, I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for encouraging people to get involved.
Well, thank you, Moon, and feel free to pass out that email I sent there. I'll send a link to the rabbis and the priests and the preachers to get bold in their churches and get people to vote and get people to turn out.
Yep. No doubt about it.
Thank you for all you do, Moon.
All right, thank you, Mr. Will. All right, we've got to take a break. More to come. Moon Griffon Show, hour number 3, right after this. MoonGriffon.com. Listen live. The rest of y'all leaving. God bless.
look at this outrageous insurance bill.
Man, everything Washington does makes life more expensive. Thank God we have Governor Landry.
What's he doing?
Well, while Washington's made a mess of things, inflation, gas, food, and the economy, Jeff Landry's fighting back, recruiting new jobs, trimming state government, and standing up for us.
Thank you. Everyone's struggling. Everyone except for the insurance companies. They're getting rich off record profits, while my rates keep going up.
Jeff Landry knows that. He's taking action. Jeff signed nearly 30 bills to reduce rates and vetoed a bill that lets insurance companies profit even more.
Oh, but they didn't like that.
Political insiders aren't happy, but Jeff won't slow down. He just keeps fighting for us and winning.
Governor Jeff Landry always puts families over special interests and fights for what's fair. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Do you love the Moon Griffon Show, the #1 radio show in Louisiana? Would you like to show your love for the show? Wouldn't it be cool if finally Moon offered up some merchandise? And what if that merchandise would help benefit a charity in some way? You know, that's a lot of questions. The answers are coming Friday on the Moon Griffon Show. Moon meets merch. How y'all are meets merch. Specific details Friday morning on the Moon Griffon Show, the voice of Louisiana.
For the absolute best in local Cajun food, check out Prejean's in their 2 locations in Carencro and Broussard today.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pro Studio.
Less than 2 weeks to go. Lisa Brady, Fox News, and the former president is sounding confident.
It's my 3rd time doing this. We did incredible in 2016. We did better in terms of voting by millions of votes. The second, we've never had enthusiasm like now.
Former President Trump also telling the Brian Kilmeade Fox News radio show he plans to early vote, even though he still has mixed feelings about it. Trump has 2 events in Georgia today, while Vice President Harris heads back to Pennsylvania. Later this week, Harris heads to Texas, where Democrats are trying to flip a Senate seat.
Vice President Harris will rally in Dallas Friday with Democratic Senate candidate Colin Allred. A senior campaign official says the focus will be on abortion, and the VP will be joined on stage by women who've been impacted by Texas law, which bans all abortions except to save the life of a mother. Polling has shown Allred is in a tight race with Republican Senator Ted Cruz within anywhere from 1 to 5 points. One ranking group moved the seat from likely Republican to lean Republican earlier this month.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Cruz is being outspent and has been appealing for donations. The Senate Democratic campaign arm sinking millions of dollars into ads in the Texas and Florida Senate races. A win for prosecutors at a hearing in Harvey Weinstein's New York cases.
The judge overseeing the New York sex crimes cases against disgraced producer Harvey Weinstein has agreed with the prosecution's request to combine them, with a trial still potentially several months away. The ruling deals with Weinstein's retrial on 2 charges he was convicted of in New York in 2020, which were overturned by the state's highest court earlier this year. The second case involves a new charge of assault that stems from 2006, to which he has pleaded not guilty. Weinstein's lawyers wanted the cases to be tried separately.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Weinstein insists any encounters were consensual. His lawyers are also appealing a California rape conviction. America is listening to Fox News.
Life takes a toll on our bodies. No way around it. Whether it's sitting hours on end at your computer or working a physical job, over time, your body pays the price. There is, however, an effective way to turn back the clock on pain. Relief Factor. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor helps support your body's response to inflammation. The difference, instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it for good. And it's 100% drug-free. If the pains that come with living a full life are affecting you, do as so many others have. Turn back the clock on pain with Relief Factor. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. When you feel good, it's amazing how much more you get out of life. So visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Try it for only $19.95. While we can't stop aging, not yet, we can stop pain. Turn back the clock with Relief Factor.
A deadly attack in Turkey being described as an act of terror.
This happened near Turkey's capital, Ankara, at a building belonging to an aerospace and defense company called TUSAS. According to media reports, there was an explosion followed by the sound of gunfire. Images shared online purport to show multiple armed individuals at the site. Security forces joined at the scene by ambulances and firefighters. Turkey's interior minister posted on X that a terrorist attack had taken place. TUSAS is one of Turkey's most important defense and aviation companies.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. Turkey's president says 4 people were killed, 14 injured. He spoke during a meeting with Russia's President Putin on the sidelines of a summit with the BRICS group of nations. Putin saying today he supports Venezuela's efforts to join that group. South Carolina will build its first monument to an African-American.
A daring escape by Robert Smalls, who wore Confederate clothes in order to steal a slaveholder's ship and sell his family and a dozen others to freedom during the Civil War. But how do you honor a man who, among other things, spent a decade in the U.S. House, helped rewrite South Carolina's Constitution, delivering equality to black men after the Civil War? Earlier this year, a bill finally passed unanimously through the state, House, and Senate, creating a special committee that has a January 15th deadline to come up with a design and a spot on the State House lawn and money to pay for the memorial. CJ Papa, Fox News.
A 5th coach let go just days into the WNBA offseason. The Washington Mystics parting ways with Coach Eric Thibault and his father, former coach turned general manager Mike Thibault. There's a sell-off on Wall Street right now. The Dow is down 330 points. The S&P also sliding, and the NASDAQ dropping more than 200. That's over 1%. Oil prices are down too, but they're still more than $70 a barrel. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.